Welcome to TradeTheNBI.com. This is John. This report is for the 9th of April. Well, we continue pushing up towards it. I was looking for, 2,900 off of base what we were going for. We get 28.9975. That's close, yes, but no new short-term buyers within the setup as we reach this peak. At the same time, you're getting the first crossover of midterm buyers, green below red. Yes, fine, still in the rising red overall, and cyan just moving above, breaks above this peak, so we could see a little bit more of downside action from that. Again, what have we got? The ABMs, so there it is, 82, so it's pretty tight up there. 28.35 at 76, that would be a more significant move, and certainly would fill back in the low of this 44. And that's the only real range that we have broadly to look at. We look at it from the 50K standpoint, it's like not even a blip for a small dip, and of course bought that earlier low point. Of course, this right here would be a clean turnaround from a short standpoint, and with DOC below zero. So we made new highs and lower DOC red peaks. So I would think that this has potential for a little bit more of a pullback. Now that it's kind of reached it. Obviously, if it can just skyrocket through it, great. But this is what we talked about before. Once this Azure started rising, we're waiting for this union where the two meet, and that it happens to be meeting at the NASDAQ at this particular point. At the same time, we're seeing a little bit of weakness from ES potential. Could see a little bit of market correction, if you want to call it that. I don't want to use the terms too broadly because people think, oh my God, the sky is falling if you say the word correction. It's like, okay, just a modest fill back in of some of the extreme moves. That's all that we're talking about. It's so much optimism from the euro, just super optimistic because there will be some kind of Brit no deal. So there you go. That's the answer to that one. And gold taking a little pop here. Not a surprise, we got into the super oversold. Doesn't look like it's going to survive much of that run. It's going to come back and retrace it, so it's stuck in its own little thing. Intraday wasn't a whole lot to talk about. We ended up with the DLC spread that started from the previous day, and that just kind of continued. We didn't get a new buy within this configuration. Literally the closest you got to it was right here when you finally got green above red, but that spidered like literally immediately. Meant it really wasn't even a configuration that we'd be interested in without the significant orange dip, and then boom, made the new lows. And this is what we're talking about because we were looking for it to come towards this 2880. The fact that it didn't even get all the way down there, that was more of the shock than that we had pulled down to it. In fact, we got the crossover here with plenty of room below the negative 13. So you look at that 1802 magenta 9 to the yellow. So that's 16 to 18, just under 2. And plus, even if you wanted to wait another bar to get the full spread, here you had 18 to 12, so that's 6. Well, 5.5 roughly. But that's more than enough. And at that point, you had the rising red, and interesting, from the previous low, you're achieving it right at that spot. I like this because I've got my zero, and particularly on the low close on this one, the spread difference between the zero and where my entry is, so 86 to then the 0% at 84. You don't have a whole lot of risk because you're just going to say, hey, I'm breaking my low, point or two, and I'm done. I got everything going in the right direction. I got rising red, I got rising shakeout, everything's going in that positive mode, and sure enough, it takes you right back up. Got to the 50% and couldn't really produce anything, and this is like key rollover right at the zero line. And it produced it one more time before giving a complete reset. Just didn't mean to move that, but let's just slide that back up there for no reason. And go with where our shakeout turned around. Right back up over the 50. And that led to the highs. A couple of positive extremes we've now filled. It's going right through to here, and that just filled it in pre-market. All good stuff, fairly clean. Didn't see anything that was anomalous. I really like this when you get the nice yellow crossover magenta where your red, deep red is still below the negative 13, because those tend to have more power for their run. When they pop up really quick, they tend to peter out pretty fast. It doesn't mean that they don't end up doing rally. What happens is they come up and then they do that earlier retrace before our next run up. So it just makes it a little more nerve-wracking, I guess would be the term for it. It's one of those things you just have to follow with it. From a broader signal, though, we can see that the weakness from the 50K is starting to expand. Go ahead and look at that one more time. As DOC spreads just developing. So we'll see if that continues. If that green dips below red, I think that that's probably going to signal a little bit further reaction. Maybe we come back and revisit these lows in here. Of course, we know the 2880 is ultimate area of the interest, because that's where we're going to see whether there's support or not based on what the readings are at that time. So we'll look for it when we get to it. As always, though, trade well. We'll talk again later.